Good evening. Good evening. I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes because I know that Gina and Rena are live on Craft Roulette, so there may be some people headed over there. Um, just gonna wait a couple minutes. Hope everyone had a great week. Welcome, welcome. We're going to do some playing tonight with some flowers and some bees. So I think my computer's switched over, so I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera right away. And while we're waiting to see, who might come visit us tonight, I did get my an order today in the mail, and I wanted to show you that I did. Hi, Shirley. I did swatch out the whipped honey. I'll try to take them out a little bit so you can see. They are beautiful. Kind of hard to see. Hi, Karen. Let's see if I can move the camera, my thing over just a little bit. How are you guys? So this is the amber, this is the Tupelo, and this is the clover whipped honey. So I just swatched those out tonight, had them drying so that they would be ready for you guys to see if you hadn't seen them dry yet. And that's about as far as I got. So I've got some things kind of pulled out here. I just re-inked my Raven ink pad right before we went live. So I think the only other thing I have is I can swatch the honey pot embossing powder. Hi, Brandon. Hi, Sandy. How you feeling, girl? So I think while we're waiting, people are kind of coming on. Like I said, I know there's another, if there's some other things going on tonight. I'll swatch this out quick. I hadn't done that yet. And show it to you. This is the honey pot, which is the embossing powder of the month. It does come in the little bags like this. But I always buy the jars to put them in, and then I kind of pull this off. So Miss Sandy, I hope you're doing well. So Canada came across twice to me, which is really weird. I only saw it once, but so Brandon, if I didn't say hello to you, I'm sorry. Hello, Brandon. So I have one of the embossing powder pieces this is free on our digitals. And then I have some swatch dots put down, and I'm just going to go ahead and I don't worry about anti-static powder wearing this too much because I shake it pretty good. But I'm just going to go ahead and I just kind of tap it off. I thought maybe we'd do this quick while we wait a couple minutes just to get everyone in. So I don't know if we're going to play with this tonight. We might because it does fit with our colors, but I just thought we'd play with we're going to play with the Stamped Flowers stamp set, which was part of the Spring Fling release. I think there's like 20 left or so. So if you want that, you want to make sure. I did link everything down below. I don't have, or at least I did on the Brutus Monroe YouTube channel. I don't know if it came through on every one, or I thought I did. But hi, Miss Tia. Ooh. Well, I hope you have a good weekend and it heals fast. And I gotta plug this in quick. Sorry. And then I will do that a little bit. You are fine. Yep, I knew they were. Yep, you go ahead. What were their parameters, Penny? The quick heat set down. I know I'm kind of on the wrong time. Quick heat set this, the honey pot. Oh, there we go. Heat gun wasn't quite hot enough. This is the best part here. I'll get a little closer so you can kind of watch it. It's this beautiful yellow color. Got a little bit of white, looks like, in there, and some gold sparkle. So look at how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? So you are all good, Penny. We literally just got started. So, okay. So I grabbed the Shaped Flowers stamp set, A7 flower wreath. Oh, well, floral wreath, colors lilac and cinco. Okay. Well, a floral wreath is no brainer. She can do that in her sleep. And there were some dies. I don't know if the dies are still available. There is a layering stencil to stencil in the florals. And then I just got the masks today. I don't know if we're going to use those. And that includes the other floral from the other stamp set from that release. I did want to remind you guys that it is freebie weekend. So if you spend $50, you automatically added to your order is the reveal die. And if you didn't see Christopher's live last night, it is a little like zipper that you can pull and you can put it on your card, and then your recipient can rip it back and find like a sentiment underneath or a gift card or money inside. And then he had some coordinating products that went with that. So let me see here. All right. So a couple things I definitely wanted to play with besides that was this paper pad. I am in love with this paper pad so much. This is the Sweet Honey Bee paper pad. And I just love it. So I'm going to pull out a couple. It is a pretty stamp set. It is a very pretty stamp set. I really like it. And I haven't played much with it other than for our spring fling event. And these pieces away here. And I thought that would be something fun because it reminds me, we got bees. I went through my stash and I grabbed the, which one is this one called? The Be Yourself stamp set that has this little bee here. It has just Be Yourself on it. And then there was the Sunny Friends dies that has a bee, so we could play with that. And I just thought we'd see what we did. Oh, it is, Sandy, one of my favorite paper pads. It really is. I think I have 2 or 3 of them now. I'm like, I really, really like this paper pad a lot. I don't know why. I just do. Thinking maybe we'll grab this. I love the fact that, I mean, you can just pretty much add, I'm thinking we might do those 2 right there. You can choose any of these papers. I mean, look at this one. You could do this one with this blue. There's those big florals, and then there's also the smaller ones, that you can put together. So we're going to start with this. These are my inspiration for tonight. I'll see if I bring those up a little closer so you can see the colors. And then I already pre-stamped out. These are both the images from that stamp set. The shaped flowers. I heat embossed them with icicle embossing powder because that is one of my favorites. I thought, I don't know which, I'm going to play with this one, I think, but I wanted to stamp them both out so they were ready to go. So we're going to just choose some colors. I've got some yellows and some blues and greens. So now what I did for this, I hope so, Sandy, very soon. What I did for this, there are 3 stencils that go with this one that I chose, and then there are, I'm sorry, these go with the other one. And then there are 4 stencils that go with this image. And then these 2. So what I did is I switched them. I put the 4 for the ones in the back and 2 in the front, so that way I didn't ever mix them up. You could probably put a number on them and put a little piece of tape over them if you wanted to, but you can kind of tell just by looking at the different florals, and it's very hard to see. I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera. Oh, maybe you can see there's some etched lines in there too that help. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then, like I said, this one matches up with this one. I did not grab any ink colors because I kind of wanted to do this right here while we were talking. This is our little inspiration piece. I'm going to put that up towards the top. It would be nice. This would be a nice one for evergreen. We'll have to ask. I'll have to ask. So what's nice about this stencil is that you can do this 2 different ways. You can use this stencil piece right here to do all of your florals the same color. And it just, oh, I think I have it upside down. Yep, there we go. And it just fits in there. You just kind of have to wiggle it around. It depends. Oh, here, I had my flowers upside down. Yeah, there we go. Because I cut it off. So you just wiggle it. So you can do all 3 of your flowers the same color. Or you can use the bottom part of the stencil and make the flowers different colors. Now, I think we're going to pretty much use the same colors because the yellow is the same here for this. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And I didn't die cut these out ahead of time. I think you could, and you could use tape to tape them in place, or if your stick and stamp mat, but I just thought we'd die cut them after. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some flower colors here. And then just a few different colors. I'm not exactly positive what colors I really want. Actually thinking that probably going to use Over the Moon and Slippery When Wet. The blue is very light, so I got this breakup blue. We'll use some greens. And then the green is a little bit darker, so I'm thinking I might need to use Later Gator and we'll put these ones off to the side for now, and Fake Plant. So, all right, so that's where we're going to go tonight. All right, so there we go. The paper pad is evergreen for 2025, Sandy. So that's right. I do remember hearing that. So that means we have the rest of this year. But coming January 1st, 2026, when they're gone, they're gone. Or if they're gone, it'll probably be at the end of the year. It is very genius with this stencil for that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a blending brush here. And we're doing just some basic blending, but I wanted to use this very light. This is, like I said, Over the Moon, because this one flower is quite light. Oh, Christopher snuck in on us. There we go. It wasn't even Penny, it was Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. I remember you did say that. Well, that's a good thing because I think I have two and I think I want to order. I think I might have one or two that is shipped to me today because I ordered some more. I love this paper pad. Actually, I have a stack of paper pads that's like this wide that I had to move over there because it was in my way of my die cut machine tonight. And then I thought, if I need to use my die cutting machine, it is not going to work for tonight. All right, I had to move my stencil. I had it off just a hair. So we're just going to use that light yellow color here. And then I'm going to grab, if you haven't grabbed any of these signature brushes from Christopher's Signature Collection, these number 8 brushes, they are wonderful. They're very comfortable. And I love being able to just add a little bit of shading. And we're going to do a little bit of shading to the outside of the flowers. And this one is Slippery When Wet, which is not a color I use very often. I tend to use a lot of Shooting Star. And that's just, this seems to be the yellow I gravitate the most, but I'm really liking the little bit of the light yellow color here. Okay, so we're just adding a little bit of shading. And like I said, that's the nice thing about this, is that you really could go in and now if you really wanted to shade differently, you could go in and add this flower and, you know, and do each flower individually differently and shade them instead of, you know, this big. Like, for example, if I wanted shading down here, I can grab this, line it up, and then I can put, because the third pack, it doesn't really put the shining, it doesn't really let you get into that corner. And you were listening to me in one ear and discuss their cards in the other. Yeah, that is a wild conversation going on in your. I was so glad I had to turn it on for just a minute. I hadn't seen Rena in a while, and Rena and my daughter are 6 weeks apart in age, and they remind me so much of each other. And unfortunately, they didn't end up getting to meet. They were supposed to meet. We were going to go on a crafty cruise before the world closed down a few years ago, and I was really excited for them to meet, and it didn't work out. So, because they remind me a lot of each other, not just in somewhat looks, but just what they like and their mannerisms and things like that. So, okay, I'm gonna put that one aside. Actually, we'll just put this down here. We're gonna grab the next one. Yeah, Sandy, add it every time. There you go. All right, so we've got 3 different little things for the greenery. And I'm just going to grab one for each one. And I think we're going to start, because the greenery is the most part. And of course I have these upside down. I cleaned them and I put them in my thing upside down. I'm going to do this greenery, the darker green, because the bigger flowers have the darker green, and then there's a lighter green on the lighter flowers. So we'll use that lighter green or a blue color to that on those. Kind of make them maybe a berrier flavor. So, hi, Amy. How are you? All right. Let's see. I got to grab my other blending brush. These, I think I might just use one of my little brushes because they're smaller. Those are just little areas. And you can always go lighter. You can always add a little bit more after. That's the one nice thing about, using a smaller brush and stencils is you can, sometimes I'm pretty heavy-handed when I color with markers, but when I use stencils like this, I can go in and kind of go light because I start off the edge of the stencil and kind of put that little bit there and then move on. Now this is a darker color because that green is darker. And matter of fact, it's almost looking like it's more vipery colored. So I might have to grab the Viper and add a little bit of shading to these with Viper. So hope everyone's had a great week. I got some exciting news this week. Well, it was since I've seen you last. My daughter is coming home for a week. I'm so excited. I haven't seen her in like 2 years, I think it's been. It wasn't this Christmas. I don't know if it was 2 Christmases ago, but I am super excited. So she won't be here. It's not this next week. I was thinking it was this next week, but it's the week after. So she'll probably be here during my live, and I'm going to make her sit in here while I go live. She probably won't go on camera, but she'll sit up here with me while I go live. So I'm so excited to see her. It's been a while. So yep, I'm going to add a little bit of this Viper just to kind of deepen that green up to have it more. I don't know. I'm not a colorist, as in I know the colors very well, but I feel like this adds it a little darker kind of, I don't know if that's really a brown tone in there, but it makes it just that deeper green color. So, and then the weather has been just beautiful. It's been kind of cool at night yet. As a matter of fact, we actually had a frost warning for last night, which is nuts because it's been like almost 80 degrees during the day. I'm just going to wipe this off and re-add just a little bit more of that fake plant to a couple spots here. All right, now we reveal. Are you ready? Here you go. Ooh, fun. Craft nights. I'm hoping to make it up to see Sandy on the November craft night with our friends up there. Okay, so this one has just this little, like I said, I think I had these upside down. Yep. They just have these little bit of greenery right there. And I think we're just going to go ahead and use that Viper on there real quick. And we'll just see, because when, they're a little bit different color flower or leaves, but I'm going to start with the Viper, make it dark first, and then add that fake plant on top. So, and anyway, it's been cold enough. Tomorrow, my plan, and I tried last week, but it didn't work for me because it's also turkey season around here. So we had some one of our kids was hunting last weekend, but Fletch and I are hoping to go we're going off to go mushroom hunting, morel mushroom hunting. So like last week, we went and found out we didn't want to wreck the turkey hunt that was going on. So we really didn't find any, and it was too early. We finally found mushrooms this week. So thank you. Going to Pink Floyd, Australia. That sounds like fun, Amy. Thank you. Thank you. That is very pretty. I like the colors. Like I said, I told them totally from this paper pad. So we are going to try to walk. We have nothing else to do tomorrow. Last week I came home because I hosted a crafty Zoom for the design team. But this week, so we're going to go and we're going to walk our little butts off and see what we can find. It's kind of the first time we're ever really going to go out on our own. Now we've got a couple locations. So we're going to try that. Hopefully not get lost in the woods. Or get attacked by, a coyote or anything, a bobcat or anything. No, we won't be. We'll be fine. I'm just teasing. I'm never scared out in the woods. But that's the plan. And then I'm going to come home, and my boss gave me a gift certificate when my dad passed away last year, and we're going to go buy some flowers and some plants and do a little planting on Sunday. Oh, yum, Penny. Yeah, we had some for lunch yesterday. So here's that. I wanted to show you now. One thing I wanted to show you that came, like I said, I got today in the mail. I haven't even opened it yet. Is that this is the spring floral masks. One is for the other stamp set, which I can show you here in just a minute. But in this, which I'll probably pull these out and put them in with the stencils, we have these two masks. So if you wanted to stamp this down on a piece, hi Walter, on a piece of like an A2 card size, and be your focal point, we have this mask now that you would need to maybe use some pixie spray. I mean, I could use my magnet, and I mean, I can show you briefly here. I'm just gonna put a little color around it. We're gonna die cut ours out. Just add a little red around it, but I'm gonna die cut it out. But then it would give you that little bit of right around the edge. I did a very light color, so it's very hard to see right here. But I did want you to see that these are available. They're called the Spring Floral Masks. I don't think I linked these, mostly because I forgot about I forgot about them when I was getting everything ready. But I can't promise. I will put them in the links tomorrow, later tonight. And then the other stamp set that was from the Spring Fling was called this Celebrate Flowers, and this is the mask for this one, so that you can mask this off. And then there were dies and a coordinating coloring stencil that you could use with this too. So I'm just going to take this mask off and throw it right inside with my folder so it's all together here. And then the same thing with these ones. I'll just put them in with the stamp set. All right, let's get this die cut out quick. I promise there's not a lot of die cutting tonight. Maybe a little bit more if we use the die cut B, but we'll see. All right. So Walter, I used this piece of paper to be my inspiration for my colors for my flowers. So, because I thought floral bee, it's May, you know, Mother's Day is this weekend. So happy Mother's Day to everybody out there that's a mom. Whether you're a fur baby mom or a person baby mom or just a plant baby mom. I'm gonna be, or maybe you got some kids you just kind of adopted as your kids, even if they're not really, like you just neighborhood kids. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Okay. Yeah, Walter, that's what we were talking about. We just love this paper so much. So now I did that little bit of ink blending on here. So of course there's a little bit of that red. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I can use my little bit of my dry erase, my little eraser marker, because I did just a little bit. It's not really that big of a deal. I feel like there's a little green right there. And then, like I said before, I did heat emboss this. I did stamp it in Raven and then heat embossed it with the icicle. See, that's why it's so shiny, because that's just one of my favorite things. So, I mean, look at how fun that is. So let us start with this, and then we'll figure out what our sentiment's going to be. So this paper pad, oops, I dropped my die. Hold on, you guys. I got to pick that up because Fletch will eat it. All right. I better put that in the folder so he doesn't eat it. He's like, oh my goodness, I just looked over. He is laying on his back. He is, and as I would call him, a dead bug. All right, where did I put the paper pad now? Here it is. This paper pad, and like all the paper pads from Burtis Monroe, have this on the back and tell you what colors coordinates. We've got Cabbage, Lagoon, Phone Book, Alabaster, Harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to use Cabbage because I really want that that green to kind of stand out a little bit more. I know we've got the blue. We might try it with that too, but let's cut this down first and see what we think. I got my inspiration box sitting right here. I just got it today. I want to play with it so bad, but I didn't know if I'd get it for sure, so I didn't plan for tonight. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 4 inches. And then I'm going to cut it to 5 1/4 because I do want to really showcase this piece of paper. I mean, and this blue, I mean, that little bit I cut off on the bottom would work perfect just right on top like this. And you got a card base, right? All right, so I'm thinking we want to do Cabbage. Let's grab that Cabbage out. Looks like I have a piece already cut down. And let's see what we think. If we like the Cabbage, oh, it needs to be cut down a little bit more, but that's fine. We've got the Cabbage. But I know, I think, I don't remember if the C is out of stock right now, but I'm gonna grab a piece. We'll just see what we think. Let me cut this down. So I'll let you in on a little secret. I got to see a little sneak peek of something Walter and Sean are working on for us upcoming, and it's so awesome. She just wanted me to make one. We just literally want to just come craft. It was so cool. That's all I can say. So, all right, we've got this blue too. So I'm not sure. Do we like the blue? And I know I got to cut the green down a little bit, or do we like the green, you guys? I'm kind of liking the blue a little bit because there's very light blue on those wings that I'm kind of liking the blue. Oop, there's a little bit of pixie tape. What do you guys think? Anybody have any thoughts on this? You know how much I like letting you guys kind of have input. I'm thinking the blue. And, oh, you're welcome, Walter. It's pretty awesome. I really like it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another little trick off of, kind of a little spin off of something we did in our spring fling class. I'm going to go ahead and quick cut out, and I'm going to cut it right out of the middle of this piece because you're never going to see it once I cover it up. So I'm going to cut it out. This is just that same die. Make sure I line it up properly though, so it works. We're gonna offset that a little bit. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have so much stuff to put away. I have chroma mats falling over here, gonna fall on the ground. I had them all done and swatched out. It's time for a de-stash, I think. You like the blue too. Okay. Brandon liked the blue, Shirley liked the green. Well, we'll use both. Maybe we'll do more than one, okay? What I think I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do is I can offset it just a little bit like this. And then you'll be able to see that a little bit more. But I'm thinking I'm kind of really liking the blue. I think I'm going to stick with the blue this time, you guys. I'm sorry. We could double mat it, but then I'd have to cut it down a little bit more. I think because I have so much green in the flowers that I'm going to have the blue. I'm going to do the blue. Okay. So let's get going on here. So, and I know I got Walter talked into one of these I don't think it's the exact same one, but he ended up getting a tape runner gun. So, and it's funny because I've been using this for a while, and I was out the other day, and for some reason because I think we talked about this, somebody was talking about this in another live, I think in Walter's live, and they were talking about they didn't like the reloading it. So I'm just gonna grab a white card panel to put that on. And I saw a video just happened to come up on YouTube the other day about reloading it, and I realized I was loading my gun kind of wrong a little bit, and that's why I was having issues. I was doing it somewhat right, but the little tip, and I want to show you guys this tip. So if you do have a tape gun, I know if you have this one, the one tip that I thought, and I've done it twice now, is that when I roll my tape gun over, I roll it so it touches the top and then over. I was just kind of rolling it so it was behind. But I found out that if I put it and I roll it and I touch it to the top of this, I'm having no issues with it rolling or breaking or getting too tight. So I don't know if that's the way we were supposed to do it, but I guess I wasn't doing it like that. So it is very similar. I think it's a different, I knew it was a different color, but only reason I ended up with this one is because I knew that I have two local friends that have this exact one. And when I bought this one, and then I knew we buy a case of tape at a time together and then split it. So that way we split it 3 ways. So, all right. I may add that piece right in there too. So it just helps me a little bit. I like liquid glue, but for like things like this, and especially for my scrapbooking, I don't like to use, ooh, that is not on straight. I don't like to use liquid glue in my scrapbooks too much. I like to use, and I don't want to use those little tape corner thingies, which I have a billion of. So now this we are going to use some liquid glue on. And I finally figured out what was going on with I had to wash out. I had left it open for too many days in a row and it got clogged. And I just took the lid off and soaked it and cleaned it all out. And I haven't had any issues since with my thing. So, all right. So just added some liquid glue and we're just going to offset this just a little bit. I'm going to offset it to the bottom. We could have probably used some of that beautiful, beautiful frost bite glitter stock too, but we're going to stick with the same colors. All right, then we need to have a sentiment. I haven't decided what sentiment I'm going to use yet. I did print off a couple, so we're going to just put it right there in the center. I mean, this is a fairly fast card. I mean, we were 30 minutes in, yes, but it was fairly quick. So, and I did do the stamping at a time, of course, and that. But I think what I'm going to do quick is we are going to do some honeybee yet, but that's going to be on the next card. I took the SVG file and I stamped. Oh, I don't want to show the next part yet. I cut a bunch of my SVG files out and I stamped them. I used my negative pieces to stamp them. So I have the thinking of you and I have the happiest birthday one here. And I'm thinking I'm going to do the thinking of you and I'm just going to pop it up. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink blend over this. Now it's not heat embossed or anything, but I'm just going to grab that breakup blue, which is that very light blue, and add a little bit of that to this. So let's grab a piece of paper here, just so it stands out a little bit more. And with that Raven ink, it's going to be it's very dark, so it will stand out a little bit more. Oh my gosh, I think there's a Airbnb directly behind me here. I had to shut the window because otherwise it was going to blind you guys, the sun, even though the river is beautiful and I wanted you guys to be able to see it. And I think they're grilling out because there was a family that year and I can smell it and it smells divine, even though I already had dinner tonight. Okay, so I'm going to cut that one down a little bit. Stick that little piece right there. It will add some gems at the very end. And we're going to pop that in. I'm going to pop it right down over this flower. I'm just going to do thinking of you right there. And we've got a card number 1. Quick, fast, and easy. I mean, like I said, other than the stamping and heat embossing, which, you know, you wouldn't have to do, you could have just stamped. That whole card took about 30 minutes. That is one of the things that I love about, I will say with the produced mineral paper pads are so beautiful. They're very easy to just take as like an inspiration thing. Okay, so my second card, I went into the digital cut files and I downloaded one and I did link it in the thing and down below, and I already cut them out and glued them together. Now I hope that's okay with you guys, but I glued out 2 different ones. So I cut these 2 out. Now I realize, am I backwards? I am not mirrored. I am not mirrored. You guys, let's fix this. I just noticed it backwards too. Let's fix it. Sorry, close your eyes if you get sick. Because it wasn't like that earlier, I promise. I looked at it. Okay, we're going to switch and we're going to try to fix it. I don't know if it'll let me. Video settings. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, now we're going back. Sorry about that, you guys. Look at that. I just realized that we were backwards now too. So yeah, you had to look all that. There we go. You gotta look at it right. So here, yep, you're gonna get sick. I see it. I'm watching it now. Anyway, I apologize for that. I usually check to make sure it's mirrored because, and it was, and then I think I don't know. I started on my phone before my computer. Anyway, I downloaded them. It comes in several pieces. I just let my little extra Joy Extra go, and I just cut them out. And I decided to do, and then I just glued them together. They don't take long to glue together at all. You can do them out of any color. I decided to do them too. So like here's the bee on the bee, and then I glued it onto the background. So those are the pieces. So I've got these, and I thought this would be nice for a focal point for our card. So this, I cut one out so that it's the full part of the card. And then I cut one out so that if I wanted to make a different, I could do a different size. And then this one, I actually used one of the pattern papers for the yellow. So, so they do cut out beautifully. I know that Christopher talked about not too long ago having a Cricut class. So when that is available, you guys will check that out, um, and you can learn how to do all this. But the digital files are amazing. So I love them. And having my extra, I mean, I've had an extra, and I have a scan and cut, and I love my extra Joy is so easy. I started with Cricut way back when we had, and I still have my original 6-inch Cricut that has the cartridges. But and I had, I had the pink one too. But then when I got my scan and cut, I have a friend in town who had the pink one, and she really liked it, and it wasn't working. So I sold her my old one. This is just some buttercream cardstock. And then I used my scan and cut for a while, but I don't like it for SVGs per much. I don't mind using it to scan and, like I said, cut out my stamps, but I don't necessarily want to use it for my SVGs because I just don't. So I think what I'm going to do is use some of this Honey Pot embossing powder, and we're going to just kind of play around with a little bit of color. So let's grab our embossing ink here, and I'm going to do anti-static powder and do all this. Like I said, I got my honeybee release, but I got most of my poo release today. So I haven't got a lot. I didn't have a lot of time ahead of time to do, making sure this is clean, to do anything that could dry. I wanted to use some of that whipped honey tonight, but I only had a little bit of time at lunch to swatch them out. So I'm just going to do a little bit of I'm not going to do the whole background. We're just going to do a little bit here and there of the honeycomb. And just stamping those in. I think I might have even linked a background plate that's in the store, but I did not use that tonight, so I will remove that link. Throw that in here. Let's grab this. And then we're just gonna accent with some of this embossing powder, which is so pretty. Oh, we make sure it's all covered. Oh my gosh, look at how pretty this is, you guys. Look at how it's just so fun. What a fun background. And that's not even heat boss. I wish it could stay like this because that's kind of fun too, but we need to heat emboss it so it wasn't wipe off. And I like the glitter will stay. It won't rub off once you heat emboss it either. Obviously, if I didn't heat emboss it, and I figured out a way for it to stay. I have my fan on tonight, so I need to make sure I get all my extra embossing powder put away, or it will be everywhere. Okay, so let us heat set this real quick. So does anyone have any fun plans for the weekend? I'll give my mama a call on Sunday. And like I said, I'm planning on planting some flowers, which is my tradition. That's what I like to do on Mother's Day. It's a little early because we still can get frost up until Memorial Day around here, but I'm going to be planting them closer to the house, so they should be okay. All right. I'm going to make sure this is nice and heat set. All right, there we go. And then I think what we're going to use, we're going to grab some of the slippery when wet. So let this dry a second or two. Or not dry, but cool off a little bit. Because if you rub on embossing powder, it can wipe and get not fun. And then we're going to add some of this, oops, that's green. Some of this slippery than wet, which is a little bit darker color. Just a little here and there, just to kind of bring out that color from the embossing powder. I'm going to go right around the little honeycomb hexagon-y shapes, just to kind of deepen them up a little bit. And there's a little bit of, I might have a little bit of I had some little bit of glitter on my desk, so it grabbed a little bit of that off, but it's not going to hurt anything. So that little bit, look at how fun that just accents, just enough. So slippery when wet looks very good. It looks a lot like honey, especially in that buttercream. Okay, so now we're going to grab another piece of pattern paper. And I'm thinking I want to use this one because I like the bees. And we're just going to cut down. Hi, Christy. How are you? I'm going to just cut this right in half. And the reason I'm going to cut this right in half is because you guys know me. I'm a mini slim card, and this makes them a fun mini slim card. And that is way too much. So we're going to cut this down actually some more now. I'm going to cut this down to 1.5 now, which gives us just a little bit. And then and we're going to put a little bit on that on here. And then actually we're going to go this way. And we're going to put down a little bit, and then we got our Be Happy on top. But I don't want to necessarily cover up the whole thing. So I think for a little bit of fun, we're going to add a little bit more to this background, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my Misty. We're going to kind of look at it the way it is. We're going to use our Raven ink. We'll set this up kind of not really in the corner per se. Actually, let's see if I have I'm going to use one of my Misty corners. That will work. And then we're going to, okay, so if I do that and we do that, I'm going to do this down here in the corner a little bit more. So what I want to do is I'm going to stick this down for a minute. How are you, Christy? Thanks for joining us. I am going to grab, this is that Be Yourself stamp set. It's 4x4 stamp set. And I'm going to grab this. Now, this would also be one where you could grab the little, actually, you could grab the little bees out of the Winnie and Friends stamp set as well. There's these little bees right here, which be cute. Maybe I'm going to change my mind. I hope that's okay. Luann, you are all good. We had a card done, and I'm kind of playing around with this one. So I'm going to grab this bee. This one is just adorable. So we're going to do this, and we're going to try to lay this out. So, okay, so we got our Be Happy. Let's move that up. But I want my bees to be down here in the corner. And then I'm going to try to, because it's a stamp, I can kind of maneuver it a little bit. We're going to move it like that. Let's put this here. And then I'm going to just take my stamp and I'm going to move it over just a hair there. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to move it over just a hair that way so that it's going to be there. Okay, shh, I won't tell anybody. I know it's at the same time. I probably should move mine back just like half an hour or so. It'd probably work better with my dinner too, but it's fine. We can always watch the replay of me or the replay of it. Friday nights are so much more relaxing for me because I don't have to go to work tomorrow, so I'm not as rushed. I feel not as rushed. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way because it's stamping down a little bit. I'm going to put it down like this. It's going to be just fine. And we're just going to add those little bee and the little bee lines. And I think we're going to do it one more time up here. Now, one of the things, this isn't super dark. It's because I am stamping kind of over a little bit over some ink, and that wing ink is still a little wet. And right here, there's a little bit of embossing powder there, but that will work. So got that little bit there. See, now look at, isn't that fun? We've got that. Oh, I love, I'm sorry. I'm glad I changed my mind and used that. Okay. So we're going to raise this up just a little bit so those bees can be seen. Now, this is where I'm going to take your green, because I know Sandy liked the green from before, and we're going to put a little bit of green background below this. So this is about 1.5 inches. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and just put it on here and cut it down. I'm not a math girl in the size of, you know, that I know it was 1.5 inches, so what I could do 1 3/4 inches or something like that and kind of get it right. But 9 times out of 10, I can't center it properly. So I like to cut my cardstock a little bigger. And because it's just going to go on the edges, we're just going to, because we're going to cut it off, we're just going to line it up as straight as we can. And then we're going to cut it off the other side. So, all right. So then we can measure over here. And what I like to do is I just kind of eyeball it. And look, I did it pretty darn close. It's pretty close. That little extra green. And I know I got to cut it off yet too, but we're going to layer it on our stamp first. I put it on here first. So let's get this done. The Be Happy, this Be Happy, Christy, is in SVG. That's up in it's in our digital cut file section. It comes in 3 parts. And I have a Cricut Extra Joy, so all I had to do was really open it and say cut, and it put all 3 pieces on my different mats, even though I only used 1 mat. I just had to cut each one. I'll show you the pieces here. Give me just a second. Now I know that little bee line got covered, but so here's all the little pieces, Christy. That it's an SVG. It's an SVG, and I cut it. I just arranged it when I arranged it in my machine. I did one at like 5 1/4 and one at like 4. So it comes in these little pieces. So like, you know, and then there's the background for the letters, and then there's the shadow layer for the whole thing. So hope that makes sense. I just chose the size I wanted. So I mean, I could make this, well, it doesn't work on my Cricut Extra or my Extra Joy because it's a little machine. But if I had the big machine, I could make it a big banner for my, like a scrapbook page as well. And I was kind of looking around I wanted a different bee because I didn't know for sure if my order was going to get here in time. And I had those other bees, you know, that I showed before, the Be Yourself stamp and the Sunny Friends die that have the bees in there as well. But I know Christopher used that Sunny Friends one before, so I wanted to try to show you something else. So, so there we've got that, and I just think it's kind of fun. And I mean, I know it's going to kind of cover up some of our pattern paper. I'm okay with that. You know, I mean, that's really big, but this one's kind of fun. And I'm just going to do it up here kind of in the corner so that we've got a little bit, that bee up here, a little bit of our trail line. And then I'm going to pop this up. But I need to grab my tape, my foam tape. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Penny. I was like, I thought I put it in my captions. Like I said, I know it's on the Brutus Monroe channel. I don't know if it's on my channel. I know Facebook doesn't have the links, and I don't know if my channel does, but I think the Brutus Monroe channel might have had it. But I kind of just went in and I said, what do we have? Do we have any? And I sometimes forget about them because I didn't use a lot of cut files before I got my Extra, and I am loving it, how easy it is to use. I didn't take any classes. Yes, I mean, that's, you know, I kind of went through and I looked at them all again the other day because I was like, oh, there's one called, it says congratulations. So I got that one too because graduation's coming. And I thought if I wanted to, I know I need one graduation card for sure. I don't know if I need any others. So I wanted to get that one because I didn't remember if I had it. I need to go through my files and see which ones I have and which ones I need. So I'm just going to cut down our foam tape here. Oops. Because I'm going to pop it up a little bit and then we'll add a little bit of gems. Yes, Penny has been wonderful working on that. So they're a little easier to file. Like if you put in, you don't have to just go to that section. I think you can now put in like cut file. I actually just put in B, to be honest with you, when I was looking the other day to remind myself, what did we have that might be B? And then it came up and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then of course I knew these two stamp sets. And there's actually one more stamp set or one more die. I will grab it quick and show you where there's another option. Let me grab that quick while I'm thinking about it. So just talk. Come on. Oh, no, it's right here in front. There is also the Bottled Blooms cutting die, which I believe is in stock, but this is a ladybug, but you could totally make it a bee. You could make it a big fat bumblebee by putting black stripes on him. So I did want to show, that part of it, or those, the other little bugs that are in here. You could add a dragonfly or butterfly to add more bugs. So you were cutting poo backgrounds yesterday. Ah, yeah. I was originally, when I was lucky, Sandy, they were on sale when I bought mine. And so I think there was only like a $20 difference or $15, $10 difference or something. So I thought I'll do the extra. Just because I like slimline cards. I really didn't want a big one, a big Cricut. I mean, now that I'm back into scrapbooking, of course, it'd be fabulous, but will not do that. I have my couple friends that have them. I really wanted something big, or I'll figure out how to do it on my scan and cut it out if I need something real big. All right, you guys. So we've got this card. We've got about 5 minutes left. So I'm going to do some bling. And then, like I said, you could easily grab like this, just this Be Happy, and just throw it right on a background like this. Yeah, it is great. Yeah, she's doing a great job. And it was a little crazy sometimes, but they're definitely a lot easier to find. And it's been awesome. It was one thing Penny and I were, okay, sorry, I thought I stepped on Fletch. I got scared for a second. It was actually the Velcro for my cord. I'm going to use these topaz gems and just kind of put some in. Just to just, like I said, you just scan it. You just put in a word and it kind of comes up, especially with the cut files. I'm just going to we're going to add a yellow gem to the center of each one of these yellow flowers. I mean, I know it's yellow on yellow, but it works for me. All right. For those of you who know, I'm getting out the sticker, so watch out. Get your goggles. It's very, okay, it's not sticking tonight. What's going on? I must have glue on the tip of my, okay, that's enough. I'm not gonna play them. You know what else I got? I got my Christopher's tool. We'll use that one instead because I know it's not got any glue on it because I have just got it. These topaz gems are just beautiful because they look a little orangey, but they look a little yellowy, so they add a nice extra little color to these. That's one of the flowers. I'm going to get some black-eyed Susans tomorrow. I think, was that all of them? I think so. Yeah, it is. And I'm really loving cut files lately. I kind of shied away from them for a while, but they're fun when, and I said, and I haven't, like I said, I have a Cricut, haven't really done, I'm going to put one here. No classes. I've never done a class. I've never done, well, that's not true. I did take a class with Christopher, but I didn't have a machine at the time. So I just watched. That was a long time ago. But I just plugged it in and followed the instructions. And I don't have a subscription to Design Studio because there's plenty of freebies out there. I really don't. If I really need something, I can just buy it. Most of the time, if I need something, I just need to do letter fonts or something and cut out letters. But it's been really, really nice. I've really enjoyed it. I know they were having a sale not too long ago again as well. So, I mean, I don't know, but thank you. Yeah, there's what was the other one? Oh, I asked for another cut file, and I know Nick was working on it when he wasn't so busy, for one of our stencils, to be able to cut one of our stencils out. So, it's kind of fun. So thank you guys tonight. I'm gonna end a couple minutes early, unless anyone has any questions. Yes, you've worked on the paper section, adhesive, and in digital section so far. So they're very good. Like if you go to the cardstock section, you should be able to go in and push like cardstock, and it comes up a lot easier, better. There's sections on the side as well. Of course, up at the top. Oh, one other thing is if you spend $60 this month, you get the incentive stamp. The incentive stamp will automatically be added to your cart while supplies last. And it is this adorable Sweet Friends card. And I had a lot of fun with them. What's the difference between, okay, the extra, Shirley, um, it's the size. I believe the Cricut Joy does like card base size, and the extra will go up to 8 inches. I think, is that right? It's 6 inches for the Joy, Sandy? I think so. So I think it's 6 inches, and then the extra was up to 8, and I figured that was good enough for me. That was the difference. Other than that, it's a little bit wider. I think if you go to Provo Craft, their website, you can see the difference in the sizes. Thank you guys. Thanks for all those. Have a great weekend, Shirley. But I think that was the difference. It's just that little bit. It wasn't a lot of price and difference. It was just a little bit in the size, and I thought I might as well go those couple of 8 to the 8 inch size. Um, I think that the Cricut, it's Joy, I think is like maybe this size, and the Cricut Extra is this size. So it's very close, very compared to a 12-inch one. So thank you guys so much. Here is the cards we made again tonight. So I hope you guys all have a fabulous weekend. And I will see you next week, and we will play with some more items, and have fabulous night. Okay, bye.